Have you ever had a thought that just keeps coming up over and over again? Something good, something that's interesting to you, or something that you feel like would be helpful in some way to either yourself or someone else? Well, today I'm going to tell you why you should pay attention to those thoughts. So my brother David has a friend named Zach Zimmerman, and I got to talk to Zach a little bit this last week, and I talked to him about his new project, which is starting a podcast. Now, there's no reason why he had to start a podcast, and some people might think, why are you doing that? But in his first episode, he explains that this was a thought that came back to him over and over again. And anytime you have a repeated thought like that, like maybe I should start a podcast, then I want you to pay attention to those thoughts. You see, I believe that who we really are and our divine potential is always trying to make its way out of us. But we keep shoving that potential and that possibility and that divine person we really are, we keep shoving that down. Instead, we try to follow a pre-packaged life, dictated by society or family expectations. Go to college, be an accountant or a teacher, have a house in the suburbs, work 9 to 5, vacation once a year, and repeat until you're 65 and then retire. Don't do anything crazy, don't take any risks, right? But the whole time, our soul is trying to guide us to our unique mission. Our soul is trying to lead us to what we can uniquely contribute to the world. It's trying to tell us that we were meant for so much more than the assembly line kind of life that we are forcing ourselves into. One of the ways our soul is really trying to reach us so that we can get where we're meant to go is through repeated thoughts. An example of this happened for me after I found my first coach and I joined her program and I was changing my life. I had a number of times where I considered how great it would be to be a coach, or I thought, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? Right? This thought came back to me many, many times. I often was quoting coaching to other people in my life, right? And I was like, that would be so cool to do that actually as a living. But I didn't ever really pay attention to this thought, even though I had it many times. It just didn't seem realistic, seemed like money and time, and I didn't need to do it. And so I completely dismissed it. It wasn't until my husband came to me one day and we were discussing something with our kids, and he's like, you know what? You should really go to coaching school. You should be a coach. And at that point, I finally gave myself permission to consider this thought that I had had repeatedly over months and months, right? So it wasn't until he kind of gave me permission that I allowed myself to consider this thought. And within a day, I had signed up to join the Life Coach School certification program. So it took a very little push because it had been so repeated in my mind. It only took a tiny push to get me to go there, right? But what I want us to do is to give ourselves permission to look at these thoughts, these repeated thoughts, and consider them and actually go out and do something about them. I can't believe that I could have missed out on what I am doing now, the people that I'm helping now, just because I wasn't willing to go against the status quo or overcome some obstacles to get here, or even just give myself permission, like I had to wait for permission from somebody else, instead of just giving myself permission to follow my intuition and follow my dreams. A lot of times we'll have a repeated thought or idea and we won't follow through because we can't see why we should do it. The thing is, the why doesn't have to be clear to us. We still get to use that experience to our benefit. We can grow and learn from it. And that is why we came here. We are here on earth so we can have a variety of experiences so that we can learn and grow and become more of who we are meant to be. So what interesting thoughts and ideas are repeating in your head? I want you to really pay attention to them. If it's something simple like reaching out to a friend, I want you to do it right now. There is no downside to doing something like that. And if it's something more complex, I want you to write it down. I want you to pay attention to it. And I want you to spend some time pondering it and how you might be able to make that happen. So pay attention to those repeated thoughts and ideas. That is your soul's way of guiding you to your divine potential, to who you are meant to be, to helping you become the most you can be. Be willing to be you. Show up in the world in a big way. Break away from the status quo. That is how you will fulfill your unique mission here on earth. And that is how you will have the impact on the world that only you can have. You've totally got this.